Grief hits harder than a surprise tax bill or stepping on a Lego barefoot at 3 a.m. in the morning. You know that, parents. But here's the good news. Hey, my friends, you're not crazy. You're human. And God still has hope for you. I'm Mark. Welcome to Hit the Mark today. I want to share some things with you. But first, I'd like to start you with a question. Have you ever had grief hit you so hard that it felt like maybe you were smacked in the face with a frying pan and you didn't see it coming? Or me as a hockey guy getting the puck at the blue line with your head down and Big Bubba steps up and throws an elbow? Yeah, you can tell I've been there. And the truth is, guys, grief is messy. It's grief is confusing. Grief doesn't follow our calendar, and it doesn't check in with us. It doesn't check in with us first, and definitely doesn't respect our plans. So I want to share some things today. I hope it touches your heart, guys. One moment you're fine, the next moment you're sobbing. You know, you're in maybe the grocery store sobbing in an aisle where you're looking at a cereal that was your loved one's favorite cereal, or maybe you're driving a car and you hear one of your favorite songs. That's the wild, unpredictable roller coaster of what's called grief. But here's what I want to do, and I want you to hear this before we even start. Guys, you're not broken. Okay? You're not crazy, you're not weak. You're human. Please understand that. And grief is part of being human. And today I want to just talk about I did some research and found out that there's five stages of grief. And I want to go through with you what they mean, with hopes that they help you and why they matter, and most importantly how you and I, both of us, can maybe walk through them with things like faith, with encouragement, and of course, if you know me, you got to have a little bit of laughter in the picture. So understand that healing doesn't mean you're forgetting. Healing means you're learning to carry both your tears and your smiles. So do me a favor, grab some coffee or paper and pencil, maybe some Kleenex if you need to, if you're reminded by your loved ones, and let's walk through this together. Okay, first of all, you got to talk about in this first part the reality of grief. And people often think grief is something you get over, like a sickness or a cold. Come on, Mark, blow your nose, drink some soup, take some vitamin C, and give yourself a week or so, and you'll be back. You'll be fine. But grief doesn't work that way. Grief, guys, think of the waves in the ocean. Grief is like waves. Sometimes they have you been out there swimming in the big waves? They crash into you with full force. They knock you on your butt, knock you down, and other times there's the same waves or same type of wave that just sort of lap at your feet. But they keep coming. They don't stop. And think of this. What changes is your ability to stand in those waves. So I did a little reading, and they say this psychologist, actually several psychologists, they often talk about 5 stages of denial. And real quick, 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and of course the last one is acceptance. And these stages aren't not like a little checklist that you can go through one at a time and as you complete it, check it off. Nope. It's just not how it is. Grief is just flipping messy. You bounce around from stage to stage like you're playing, emotional hopscotch, I guess you could say. One day you're angry and pissed off and you want to punch people in the face, and maybe the next day you're numb to the whole situation, and the day after that you start bargaining with God, letting him know that he's got to make a deal. and then boom, you're back to the denial stage again. It's crazy. So today, again, I want to break down these stages with you, and I'm not going to do it like a boring textbook, but I'm going to share my heart with you, and I just want to be real. I'm someone who, like you, probably laughs and cries and tries to cling to the promises of God in the middle of all this that I'm dealing with. All right, stage number 1, denial. This was a tough one when my wife first passed. Denial is a stage, it's the first one where we basically say, nah, nope, I'm not me, I'm good, I'm fine. I like to say I'm a legend in my own mind, I'm good. And if you think of it, it's that feeling of like, bam, shock, where your brain starts, what do you call that when the computer starts spinning, the buffering thing. You try to download what just happened, but your brain Wi-Fi connection is just way too slow. And you find yourself saying things like, all right, Mark, this can't be real. Nah, this isn't happening. It's not how I planned it. I talked to her. I talked to them yesterday. Oh, I'm okay, really. Yeah. I'm okay. But guys, denial isn't weakness. I'll say that again. Denial isn't weakness. It's your heart's way of protecting you from, I guess you could call it an emotional overload. It's like God sort of pops this filter on your heart, letting the reality sink in, but it's done slowly, so you don't just collapse, fall over all at once. And guys, the Bible helped me, and I'm going to share this with you. It reminds us the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and He saves those who are crushed in spirit. Is that you? It was me. That's in Psalm 34, verse 18. And when we're in denial, God is He's here. Even when we're numb, He's still wrapping us in His presence. And sometimes denial even comes with, I guess you could say, a little unintentional humor. Like, I've known people, and maybe I've done this too. When you lose a loved one, you still, fluff their pillow up, get their blankets ready, maybe set an extra plate at the dinner table, cut up some extra food for them, just because your brain couldn't compute that loss yet. And that's okay. That's just grief doing what grief does. Anyways, stage 2. Boy, was I good at this one. Still dealing with it. Anger. That anger. It's just the stage where sort of, I guess you could say, grief walks in and says, I'm going to flip over some tables, or I'm going to flip some people off. No, anyways. And suddenly everything seems to set you off. There's the driver who cuts you off in traffic. He's just become enemy number 1. You spill your coffee, and it's not the coffee's fault, it's the cup's fault. Yeah. And the world just feels unfair. And honestly, it is unfair. It really is unfair. You might even, because I did this, you might even get angry with God and say things like, why, Lord? Why my wife? Why them? Why now? Why me? That why word, that's a tough one. And guess what? Understand this, my friends. God can handle your anger. He's not sitting in heaven, shocked or like because you raised your voice. Or in my situation, I'm a hockey player. I speak English in profanity. The Bible says in Ephesians 4:26, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. And that's tough. But you got to understand that just means, guys, that anger itself isn't a sin. It's I guess you could say it's what we do with it that really does matter. Anger can become either like a destructive type of fire, or have you heard of this? A that just consumes everything around us. Or maybe, have you heard of a refining fire? Do you know what that is? Where that just sort of refines you and pushes you closer to God. So hey, you, if you're angry, be honest about it. You're going to get upset. You're going to yell, cry, pray raw prayers with some choice words. And God prefers you to be honest and shout to your fake smiles. All right, guys, bargaining. Being a business guy and doing some sales, I was pretty good at this. This is, for me, when things got a little bit interesting. And this is the stage where we try to, I guess you could say, close the deal, negotiate our way out of the pain that we're dealing with. It sounds like, let me think of some things. Okay, God, if you just fix this, I promise I'll pray more. I'll never complain about traffic. I won't swear so much. I'll give up donuts. Just make all this go away. Spoiler alert. Well, we'll still complain about traffic and all those other things. Bargaining is just, I guess you could say it's just our way of trying to make sense of the senseless. Yeah, that's it. Our brain is reaching for some kind of, I guess you could say it's reaching for some kind of control in a situation that seems to be out of control. But here's the truth. You don't have to bargain for God's love, or you don't have to bargain for God's healing. It's already yours. The Bible promises this, and it says in 1 Peter 5:7, to cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. Not bargain, not negotiate, not close the sale. It says cast. That just means lay it down. God doesn't ask for a trade. He asks for trust. Okay, guys, this next stage 4 depression is tough on me. I went through about 4 months of numerous surgeries, and this was such a dark valley for me. And I'm very thankful that I was able to come through it. And depression is the movement when I guess you could say even brushing your teeth feels like it's exhausting, like you're maybe you're running a marathon. It's when laughter feels impossible. And your hope, man, it just feels like, well, it's far away. And guys, let me pause here for just a second. And please understand this. Depression is not weakness. I'm going to say that again. Depression is not weakness. It's not a lack of faith. It's a human response. A human response to deep loss. It really is. Okay, guys, talk about David in the Bible, Mark. Well, David, the man after God's own heart. Remember that? That's what it says. Well, he wrote in Psalm 42, verse 3, my tears have been my food day and night. Why? People say to me all day long, where's your God? I dealt with that. But remember, if David could cry out like that, then so can you and I. We can both do that. And here's the beautiful promise. Even though, I'm sure you've heard this, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. That's in Psalm 23, verse 4. Notice it doesn't say we skip or we run or we electric bike through it. We walk through it. And you guys got to understand that God is there walking with us. And sometimes depression looks like things like staying in bed for too long. Sometimes it looks like maybe, snapping at people when you don't mean to, especially your loved ones. Sometimes it looks like just feeling, in my situation, just empty. And if that's where you are right now, guys, hear me, please. You're not alone, and you won't stay there forever. You won't. Okay? And let's go through this last stage. Stage 5 is acceptance. And and I'm doing better with this. You know, when you finally get to acceptance, again, it doesn't mean that the pain disappears. It doesn't. And it also doesn't mean that you forget. I think it just means that you've made peace with your new world, your new reality without that loved one. It's when you can look at maybe a picture of the loved one and smile instead of crying. It's when you can tell different stories without getting emotional and falling apart every time. It's also when you realize that healing doesn't mean moving on. It means it just means moving forward. And my friends, God does promise peace in this stage. And the peace of God which transcends all understanding. That's everything. Will guard your heart, will guide your mind in Christ Jesus. Look that up. That's Philippians. That's in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 7. Acceptance isn't where hopes start. Acceptance is where hope, I guess you could say, starts to bloom again. It's where you discover that, grief molds you, shapes you, but it doesn't define who you are. The loss may have written a part of your story, but it doesn't. There's just no way that it gets to write the last chapter. There's just no freaking way. You know who does that? I know you know. God does. All right, guys, think about this for a second. Let's have a little fun. All right, take a breath. Have a little fun here. If grief were a video game, here you go for you gamers. Denial is the tutorial stage. Confusing, but it's real short. And then, oh wait, you go to the next stage. It's anger. It's that boss fight. You're just swinging at everything. And then you win that stage, and you go to the next stage, bargaining. It's that weird side quest that I guess you could say nobody understands. And then we're moving up to the depression level. This is where you run, out of those health potions that you need to keep going. And finally, the last level of this video game, acceptance, is finally I'm there. I'm going to be winning the game. But wait a second. You find out there's more downloadable content called, what can we call it? How about this one? Random memories. Yeah, and they get you in the middle of the night so you can't sleep. Those 2 a.m. ones. Have you ever dealt with those? I still deal with them. That's okay. So let me give you a little encouragement, guys. Grief is not it's not a straight line. It's not. It's not like you graduate, from one stage and you get a badge and or a ribbon and you go and you can never go back. It's just nope. That's just not how it is. You seem to bounce between, like the bouncing ball between them. One day you feel acceptance and the next day, bam, you're angry again. And the next day you're back to the bargaining stage again all over. And that's not failure. That's just the process. I hope you understand that. And through it all, guys, God is with you. Again, another verse, Psalm 147, verse 3, it says, He heals the brokenhearted. And oh my goodness, I was so brokenhearted. And binds up their wounds. And God can do that for you. So my friend, He, as I said before, He sees your tears. He also hears your cries. And He's not far away. He's not distant. He's close. He's holding you even when you feel like you're about to collapse, or even like you feel like you're gonna fall. So do me a favor. Let me ask you a question. What stage are you in right now? Did you lose a loved one, mother, father, a loved one, a spouse, a friend? Drop me a comment below and let me know, because, you guys, please understand that your story might really encourage someone else who's walking through this same type of valley. I had some two dear friends lose their moms this week, and it will help them. And if this video encouraged you, it helps us by having you hit the like button and you share it with a friend or two, or maybe someone who just needs some hope. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to Hit the Mark Today. I try to be raw and real, and give these weekly encouragements, use a little bit of biblical wisdom, and of course, plenty of, if you watch some of the other videos, plenty of laughter in the video along the way. So, here we go. Grief, please listen to me here. Grief is one of the hardest teachers in life, hardest I've ever dealt with, but it's also one of the most shaping. It bends us, it twists us, but it doesn't have to break us, my friends. It doesn't, okay? So I want you to remember, denial doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're weak. Anger doesn't mean you've lost your faith. And bargaining doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't. And depression doesn't mean you're alone. You're not. And lastly, acceptance doesn't mean forgetting. It means that you're going to be living with hope again. And my friends, through every stage, please know that God's love is steady. His peace is real. His promises never fail. And until next time, I want you to remember this, my friends. You're not alone. You're not. You're not forgotten. And together, you and I will keep hitting the mark every day.